It's so good to be here, and I'm very honored to be one of the TEDx speakers at TEDxVinschool Ocean Park today with you guys. So I thought a lot about what I can bring to the stage with you all today, because as you can see, all the speakers ahead of me and will be speaking behind me, they're all excellent speakers. So what am I gonna offer, right? Because I'm just a high school student with no achievements. But yeah, as I continue to delve into my story, to remember exactly which truth and lie I make, I remind us of this old story that was actually, I think that it's very important and impactful. And I would really love to share it with you guys today, as I think relatability and honesty is one of my best strengths. So yeah, because today's theme is about the truth and the lies. I feel like when I was dwelling into this, I think these two are actually sometimes really hard to figure it out, and they sometimes coexist inside each other. So it was difficult for me to differentiate at first, but I figured it out, and I would like to invite you guys to this story of mine about how did I figure that out. So let the movie begin. Right, so this movie is gonna be divided into different episodes and stages of my life. About the first episode, it's about the believer. So it's me, it's the believer of the past. So what kind of person was I, and when was this happen? So it was back to when I was in grade 9. When I was grade 9, I was a very confident student, I think. I was a top scorer in my class. I was this top-notch student, teacher's pet. Everybody placed high expectations in me to get to a prestigious high school. But I wasn't exactly this kind of person before. During grade 6 to grade 8, I didn't care about studying at all. I didn't even like, because I look at all the successful people. Sometimes they drop out of the school to pursue their own passion. And I said, okay, I'm going to find my own way, because successful people, they have their own ways. And I'm going to draw that. And that might not include being excellent in the education field. So that's why I didn't care. But soon I realized, when puberty hit me during grade 9, I realized that being a student, your image is linked to your identity. Because a student, their sky is so small. It isn't as big as adults, because you have your way to find out who you are. But to a student, who you are is what kind of student you are. At least that is what it is to my mind back in the days. So I thought, I was too reckless. I didn't have an identity. And that is also not an identity that I love to have. So that's why I want to change so badly this image. And I figured out that studying is one of the best ways to change your identity as a student. So that's why I thrived so hard during grade 9. And I still remember, it was the day before my high school entrance exam, I met my homeroom teacher. And she was a homeroom teacher for 4 years. She came up to me, she told me, she looked me straight in the eyes, and she said, "Lum, I know you're gonna get there." And I believed in it so much too, because it was all of my investment, my efforts and all. And then also my English teacher, who taught me to get into one of the gifted high school. She also told me that I believe that you can do it. And so of course, I believe that I can do it too, like anybody else, because I'm qualified. But yeah, I guess sometimes life just does not roll in a way that you want it to be. So as dramatically as it is, I failed my high school entrance exam. I failed completely. I failed all of the options that I wanted to get in. And so to me at that time, my sky completely crumbled, because I linked my study journey, my academic journey, to my identity. So it felt like if I don't get to any of those schools, I'm going to be no one, or I'm going to be a disqualified kid, despite all of the efforts. So I failed so dramatically, and I think I started to ask myself this question that has changed a lot of my perspective that day was, what am I if I'm not my expectations? Everything, the life that I'm building, brick by brick, is about expectations. So now I'm expecting that I'm gonna get a 9 on my math test. I'm gonna get that. Wow, I'm fulfilled. If I don't get it, I'm wrong. This life, failure. So it happened the same thing. But high school entrance exam is a big scale. It's a much bigger scale than a math test, of course. So that's why I thought, wow, then I'm nothing now, or I am something that I don't ever want to be. That's why I asked myself this question. But of course, while I experienced many dramatic seasons, including locking myself in room, didn't talk to anybody at all, including my family, because if we talk, we would fight. We would never be able to figure it out. Why did I fail when I was being such an excellent student? And also, I think I got eating disorders. I ate too much, gained pounds and pounds. So yeah, it was all bad memories. But of course, life doesn't stop there. It will continue whether you want it or not. So with that, high school opened, and Vinschool was introduced to me. I wasn't exactly unfamiliar with Vinschool, but it was a long time since I was reintroduced to the education system. And this is going to be very embarrassing, but now I am uttering my courage to actually tell you guys this. I was actually ashamed at first that I got to Vinschool. I didn't like that I got to Vinschool. Not because of the Vinschool education system, but because I failed my expectations. And everything seemed like it is not important anymore. I wanted to get to that gifted school so badly, but I failed, and I got to Vinschool. And then Vinschool, according to my prejudice and my background, was an overpriced school. You pay to get through the education, not exactly learn. So they don't actually value the knowledge that you study there. But, well, I think this is very paradoxical because apparently when I was trying to prepare for this TEDx, the most inspiration that I find are actually from Vinschool students themselves. I watch the videos they make, I watch the speech they make, and I learn from them a lot. So absolutely it's not from Vinschool itself, but from my falling apart expectations. So in this very odd new environment where I thought I couldn't strive even harder, I realized so many new things about myself and this system. 9 in a normal public school would be normal, absolutely normal. But when I came here, a 9 means you try so hard, you well behaved, and you deserve it. So that's why they actually honor me for that. And for the very first time, I feel very appreciated in such a public environment. And but of course, I was still surrounded by so many different options inside my mind. Either I'm gonna be rebellious again in this, well, screw my education lane. Now, I don't know, whatever. Or I might just let it happen whatever way that is and just don't care anymore or something like that. So many options surrounded me, which I actually found out the answer. So, for your information, I got this big, deep reflection about myself the first reflection was when I realized a different version of myself rather than the old one that I thought I was that version only. But it wasn't enough to, unfold everything in every layers. So actually, I just like how universe works miraculously. Sometimes I don't understand why, but I met this friend from secondary school, and she actually we lived in the same area. Coincidentally, I saw her one day when I got back to school, and she saw me. She said, "Hey, oh my God, let's talk. It's been so long. Where have you been?" I was like. I was afraid at first because I didn't really want to talk about her with this uniform and all. I didn't quite get out of it yet. But we talked, and she got to a very prestigious high school. And I said, wow, congrats. You're standing where I want to stand so badly. So what are you going to do after this? What do you want to do? What major are you going to take? What kind of road are you going to take? And she said, honestly, I don't know. I don't actually know what I'm going to do with my life. And so that breaks me. So successful students, in my eyes, they also lost their ways. They also can experience the exact same chaos that any other students or any person in this world could feel. And so that kind of changed me too. And now I link it to another example today that I feel like this can apply to everyone about expectations. my teacher, which shout out to her here, I'm taking academic writing. And one thing she mentioned a lot is about how you pay to get your research paper published. So I thought at first it wasn't a bad thing, but most paper being published by money, they don't get reviewed by experts. So that's why the quality is questionable, and which is also an unethical way, an unfair way to other researchers who publish it by their blood and tears. And so I thought, wow, why so? Because obviously, we want to be seen, we want to be recognized, we want to be known as a talented, successful people, and that includes living up to the expectations, just exactly how I felt like a few years ago about my high school entrance exam. So yeah, when I realized this, the expectations broke. And the expectations that I thought I was once caged by it, now it actually freed me. It sent me to another horizon. It opened my opportunities and opened my eyes. Just a very meaningful experience. So I'm going to take a bold statement here and say, maybe it was great that I actually failed the high school entrance exam and get to where I am standing here today. So yes, that opens up to my decision. And honestly, now I'm standing here today, I can confidently say to you one thing, that finally, I've figured out the truth and the lies. So long, right? Well, I look back to where I was standing. The little girl who thought academic is everything. The little girl who thought this is all I have and I am only my expectations are standing here today, living the dream of a girl who was once thought she couldn't raise her voice to anyone at all. I now understand my truth is actually who I am is in my own hand. I handle myself, I take myself where I want, and I'm absolutely not limited by any of my expectations. And I desperately want to send this message to all of you guys who are sitting here today in this room with us about the message about growing beyond your expectations. Whatever the lie you receive along the way, it will comes with the truth, right? And I hope that every time you figure out the truth, it will be about growing beyond expectations, beyond your limitations, and whatever frame that you put on yourself. So after this speech, I really hope that one message that will leave with you guys is about just do it. Just pick up your pen, your paper, a pencil, just any paper, and figure it out, your lies and your truth. Because I know it can be excruciating, it can be tormenting, and it can be dangerous. But I promise it's gonna worth it. So let's strive together. Thank you guys so much for listening.